Hi everyone, welcome to the first and potentially the last edition of Blunt's News. Thanks to very generous donations by alumni over the years, we've been able to invest in nothing but this high production value content. So thank you very much. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Matt Roberts. I was one of the founding members of the Blades way back in 2000. Obviously graduated, coached with the team for about 5-6 years, I think it was, before moving away into the senior game. And for the last really sort of 7 years, I've been either focusing on work or more accurately raising a family. So I am the Blades head coach for this year. It's great to be back into coaching. It's exciting being back in the university game. But yeah, boy, has a lot changed. So I thought I'd put this together. I was going to do a bit of a typey blog post and stick it up somewhere, but I thought, you know what, let's go multimedia. And you know what, if it does nothing more than pass a few minutes while you're sat on the can, it's better than reading the back of a shampoo bowl or whatever. So here are my first thoughts on the last week or so, which has been purely with returners. We had our Freshers' Fair yesterday, which I'll talk about a bit more. But yeah, I thought someone might find it interesting, a bit of an update on the state of play. So I think the first impression I had, the thing that surprised me the most, was actually how hard students work now. I don't necessarily mean academically, I have no idea about that, but how many of them have not just jobs. You know, when I was back at university, you know, a lot of us had bar job here, an hour there, you know, whatever. But some of these kids, I mean, they're working like sort of 20, 25 hours a week, night work, you know, proper, you know, night shift stuff in supermarkets, evening work in bars. And whilst that genuinely actually depresses me a bit, the student experience for them is nothing like we had the benefit of. It does pose questions for me as a coach. Obviously, we want to try and build the culture and the expectations that attending practice is mandatory. You know, you should want to come, it should be fun, but I expect you to be there 100%, you know, 3 times a week. And just from my experience with the sort of 15, 17 returners that we're working with, it's not going to be that. You know, I've got guys saying, sorry, coach, I'm working Tuesday night, I'm working Thursdays. We also have guys who commute from Norwich, from London, from sort of places around. So them not being at practice isn't a reflection on a lack of effort or dedication. It is purely just an impossibility for them. So one of the things I'm going to have to try and learn is how to manage expectations and how to manage that, because obviously I hope the player who's turning up twice a week, 3 times a week, will soon outpace the student who's only there once a week. But I want the club to be all inclusive. I don't want anyone to feel marginalised, you know, so I'm going to have to try and find a way to keep the 1 a week player involved without hurting the competitiveness of the team. So that's certainly something very, very new for me, just dealing with people whose lives look a lot more like graduate adults who have got jobs and children and other sort of commitments. So that's very much a new one on me. Other first impressions, so I don't know, you know, how much who knows about what, but last year they, after Neil stepped down after a stellar sort of run of about 10 years, I think it was, they managed to get some coaches up from London. Then my details on it are fairly sketchy, but I heard they were perhaps trying to commute up by train, and, you know, anyone who's tried to get a train on a Sunday to or from London, from Colchester, knows 90% is rail replacement. And then even if you end up at, you know, the main Colchester station, you're still miles away from the university. And even if you're lucky enough to get to Hythe, you know, that's still a half-an-hour walk or a taxi ride. So I don't really know the exact details, but the season was a disaster from a coaching point of view. I don't know whether or not technically they quit, they fizzled out and lost interest, whether or not they were sacked. But it was only by the grace of the Gladiators' involvement that they made sure their coaches registered with the Blades. They turned up to games, so there was no forfeits, there were no walkovers. And when they could, they'd help out at practice. But to give you an idea, last year most practices were player-led, and it shows, to be totally honest with you. The players we've got, it's mad. It's a totally new situation for me, because talking to other coaches in the division, they kind of all said, you know what, actually Essex, you're the guys with the athletic talent. You know, you've got the dudes, which is incredibly exciting. And from what I've seen, I would certainly say that that is the case. It's really encouraging. We've got speed, we've got gym size, we've got athleticism, which is absolutely fantastic. However, what we don't have is a particularly high mean average of football knowledge, and that shows from the problems they had last year. So at the moment, there's a very steep learning curve that we have to get up. At the moment, the players, there's large gaps, and they're trying their best. You know, they want to get better, they want to learn, they're eager. These guys are committed. They hung around when it was really a bit of a, shit show, frankly. So they do want to buy in, but, their scheme knowledge is very, very weak. Their technique knowledge is very, very low. Their knowledge of drills is very, very limited. And also as well, it's just stuff like they don't know how to train yet, so that's something that's been a reminder and a shock to me coming from the senior game, where there's just so much more, obviously, like knowledge carried over, that they don't really know how to thud scrimmage. They don't really know what kind of two-touch practice looks like. So I'm trying to get them to a place where, we know how to practice effectively. And it's going well. It's going well. But like I say, it does have this feeling of a new program right now, rather than me coming in and having second and third years. There's a lot to do. One of the encouraging things, which I wasn't expecting, is equipment. I'll be honest, I thought we were going to open the container and there would be nothing in there. Historically, the club has never been good at tracking and keeping hold of stuff. So I thought, do you know what, prepare for the worst and let's see. Thanks to Dave Crane, the committee, and myself, we went up there, had a good rummage through, and actually, you know what, we've still got the two-man sled, we've still got chutes, we've got pop-up bags still. Thank you, James Thornton. We've got hand shields, half-round step-overs, we've got O-line, like rubber track boards. We've got a lot of stuff. And actually, in terms of player equipment, we're probably in a position, I think, with a few straps replaced and a few clips and things like that, we should be in a position to kit up about 45 to 50 players, which is really, really encouraging. So actually, the club's not in a bad position in that sense. As I said, we had the we had the Freshers' Fair yesterday. The club captured around, I think, 158, I think was the final count, names of interested people. So if half turn up, that sort of 60, 70, something like that, I think we could be in for a really, really exciting bumper day tomorrow, to identify some new talent to add to the team, which will be great, So I'm cautiously optimistic. We've only got a couple of weeks till our first game. But at the moment, fingers crossed, what we lack in knowledge we can perhaps make up with, which is good old-fashioned athleticism. But we've got the kit, so let's see. So that's our come and try tomorrow. Fingers crossed it will all go well from there. So yeah, so that's really kind of my first impressions. Lots to be excited about, a lot of hard work. Me and my coaches have got a lot to do and prepare for. But there we go, it's why we do it. So anyone got any questions? If there's anything anyone wants to know, please reach out. I'd love to start trying to get in touch with alumni who I've never met, not spoken to. I really hope we can get a good sideline support on our game days. And certainly looking ahead, Alumni Weekend, I think, has been marginalised over the last couple of years. So again, there's stuff that I'm planning for in terms of an old boys social, maybe like a flag tournament, I'm thinking could be pretty cool. So like I say, so please keep in touch. Be great to hear from you all. Hope this has been in some way interesting or past 10 minutes of your time. I'm going to try and keep you all a bit more sort of up to date with how the season's shaking out as it goes along. But there we go. So thanks again. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll speak to you all soon. See you later. Bye-bye.